Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has signed an official request for Ukraine to become a member of the European Union. Immediately, he says the war in Ukraine justifies fast-track membership. But joining the EU is a time-consuming process. It requires agreement from all 27 current members. Now, in the past, some of those members have expressed opposition to letting Ukraine in. I want you to take a listen to what David McAllister, chair of the European Parliament's Committee on Foreign Affairs, told DW News today.
But today our message was, Ukraine is a European nation. Ukraine is interested in having a close as possible relationship with the European Union. Ukraine wants to join the European Union. And we are standing in solidarity with Ukraine because Ukrainians are not only fighting for democracy, the rule of law and their own liberty, they're also fighting for European values which are under attack now in Kiev. But until we discuss concrete issues about starting an EU membership accession process, which will take a longer time, let's in the meantime also focus on how we can better integrate this country into our EU single market. And with the cooperation and association agreement of 2014, I think we have a solid legal ground to work on this.
Well, for more now, I'm joined by Teresa Fallon. She is in Brussels, and she's the founder and director of the think tank Center for Russia, Europe, Asia Studies. It's good to have you on the program tonight. Ukraine's president, he is pushing hard for EU membership, and we know that this process is one that takes time. Is this situation going to accelerate the process for Ukraine, or is it likely to ever happen at all?
Very impassioned speech today at the European Parliament. It was short, but even the translator got all choked up. But I think that although many members of the European Parliament were moved by his words, actually, I don't think it will make much of a difference. It's the traditional Eastern European countries are largely supporting this, but the larger member states are very concerned. And even if they gave it something a little more realistic, like a fast track to candidate status, that takes a long time to negotiate. And I think there are deep fears about the size of Ukraine. And plus, you have to remember there would be freedom of movement. And in a post-COVID economic landscape, this idea of labor's jobs, free movement of labor and job issues, a lot of member states in the West are a bit concerned about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you illustrate very well the dividing lines there. I'm wondering then, what do you think is motivating Zelenskyy then to push for something that is practically impossible? I mean, obviously the man fears for his life. There's an existential threat to his government and to his country. Is this just a voice of sheer desperation that is articulating this request?
I mean, I think he's looking ahead to the future, right? So he's trying to maybe use this opportunity to fast track Ukraine, because there's a deep outpouring of sympathy and empathy for Ukraine. And I think that he's trying to tap into that. So I think good for him. Try your best. And I think that as we saw today in the parliament, there were many, many people wearing Ukraine shirts on, T-shirts over their suits with the Ukraine flag and EU written on it. So I think that there's a great deal of sympathy for him. But it takes a lot for there are 5 countries already on the list, and they've been at it for years. It takes a long time to get the laws to match, good governance, concerns about corruption. So it's not something that can be fast-tracked at all.
Yeah, I mean, and good governance is still a problematic and thorny issue for Ukraine. Let's just imagine, though, that there were to be some type of fast-track lane that were to be open to Ukraine. How would you expect Russia to react? I mean, obviously, this would be another act of provocation in the eyes of the Kremlin, wouldn't it?
Clearly, we saw back in 2014 with the accession of the agreement between the EU and Ukraine. It was a type of trade agreement that was signed September 14th, 2014. And of course, this made Moscow furious. Clearly, membership of the EU and NATO are 2 of the things on Russia's no list. So this would actually infuriate Moscow. Their fear is that there would be more westward drift of Ukraine and not in their kind of sphere of influence. So I think that this kind of a non-starter for Russia, but that's what this war is all about, isn't it? About Ukraine's Western, looking more westward rather than towards Russia.
And Teresa, I've got about 30 seconds left. The Russian invasion of Ukraine, though, it is actually producing the opposite of what Vladimir Putin wanted, isn't it?
It's incredible because, I mean, no one would have said this before. And I think that we've seen incredible European unity, unheard of changes, watershed moment. We've seen Germany change its position in regard to sending lethal aid to Ukraine. So, and more talk of European cooperation. And this is a huge turning point. So I think President Putin thought he could drive wedges, see divisions in Europe and in NATO, but that has not happened. All we've seen is Europe pulled together as well as NATO members.
Teresa Fallon with the Center for Russia, Europe, Asia Studies in Brussels. Teresa, it's always good talking with you. We appreciate your valuable insights tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.